Do you actually get college exposure when you go to most of these youth baseball tournaments? In today's video, we're going to answer that question. So if you're new here, I'm Coach Dan Blewett. I'm a former pro pitcher. I owned my own baseball and softball academy in the past. And we had high-level teams where we would go to all these different tournaments and we would do our best to help these kids get recruited to play in college. Now, I learned a lot of stuff along the way in doing that. And here are some of the things that you as a parent should understand so that you properly allocate your money and don't waste it on things that don't move the needle. That is my goal here. I'm not here just to tear down or just to my goal is that you spend your money wisely for the betterment of your kid. And sometimes that is for training and lessons and strength training and development. And other times that money is well placed into the recruiting funnel. So let's talk about some of the recruiting things that matter. Number one, pretty much no one is going to look at your kid if they're 15 or below. Pretty much no one. They don't care. Your kid is so far from being recruitable where they're going to actually offer them a scholarship or a pro scout is going to actually draft them. They're so far from that it's just not worth their time. What you have to understand is this is how college coaches roam around in the summer. They're playing with their team. Any college coach is playing with their team from, February until their season ends in May or maybe June if they go to the College World Series. After that, they get freed up and the recruiting coordinator and maybe some other assistant coaches will go out and do some recruiting. And guess what? They don't just roam around to random tournaments and see who's there. That's not how they do it. I know this because I asked them. I have a lot of friends who are in the college coaching world. I have a lot of friends who are in the pro scouting world. They are very busy people and they have to be very targeted. So what they do is they go and look at the players that they know about. Okay, how do they know about these players? You email them. So if I am, Washington, D.C. State, because I live in Washington, D.C. If I'm the recruiting coach from Washington, D.C. State, I'm going to make a list based on all the players that I've figured out from who are in my, say I need juniors and I need seniors from, I need 2028s and 2029s. That'll be simpler. I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to go through some of the recruiting scouting profiles. I'm going to look at some of the players who were recommended to me. I'm going to look at some of the players who came to our school's recruiting camps. And since I need to sign 28s and 29s, I'm going to go see those 29 players that are on my list. And that means I'm going to go to this tournament because this player's there, that tournament because player F is at that tournament. I'm going to go to this tournament because players D, E, H, and G are at that tournament, whatever. But I'm going to be very targeted because I don't want to waste my time. The good thing is when you have a good player, often they're on good teams with other good players, right? So someone comes to recruit me and I'm a 17-year-old and I throw 89 miles per hour. There's probably some other good players of a similar caliber on my team. I might be the best player, but there's probably others who are similar. So now you come to watch me, and you see our shortstop, who's really, really good, and our catcher who throws, missiles to second base. So there's a pile-on effect from that. So that's a good thing for scouts, and that is one of the reasons that being on a good team can help you get recruited. But scouts are not just roaming around the country, showing up at tournaments at random, and then going to stop at your field when there's 16 fields of games going on to watch your kid just happens to do that. That's not how they work. Because what are they going to do? Just stand there at the field and just watch 7 innings of baseball, seeing if someone catches their eye? No, that's not really how this evaluation system works. So all that being said, you have to be targeted and get in front of scouts. So how do you get on my list if I'm a scout? You have to wait till your kid is ready. So they're really, really good. A pitcher throws in the 80s or whatever it is, and it's physical enough. They look more like a man than a boy. So if you email me about a 13-year-old, I don't care. I'm not going to come watch your 13-year-old play. Why would I do that? They might quit baseball by 16. They might not even be playing still. I'm not going to make some list of players to follow 5 years from now. I'm looking at players that are very close. That's what scouts do. So if you have a kid who's very close, your kid is very close, right? 15 and really, really good, or 16 and pretty good, pretty physical, looks the part. Send me an email. I'm a college coach. Send me an email. Put everything I need to know about them. Their grades, their height, their weight, their stats, a bunch of videos. Take some video with your camera phone or buy a real camera, get some zoomed in footage, show me some game footage, get their full pitching mechanics on there so I can see it, get their full swing so I can see their swing, show me how hard they throw, show me how hard they hit, show me how fast they run the 60. Give me every piece of scouting data that I need. Then if I'm like, hey, I like that kid's swing, that kid's really fast, that looks like the kind of ball player that I need, then I put them on my list and maybe I'm going to come watch them in the recruiting trial. And I'm probably going to communicate with you about that. I'm going to say, hey, your son looks awesome, or you look awesome. Parents don't send the emails, kids send the emails. Hey, you look really good. I'd love to come watch you play. Also, can you come to our camp? We'd love to get our eyes on you in person. So, okay, you send the email. I like what I see. I invite you to my camp. Washington, D.C. State's going to hold a couple camps every year. We're going to evaluate the players. We're going to look around. We're going to see who we like. And they sign players from those every single year. So now, okay, I've seen you. Guess what? I'm going to watch you. I want to watch you in a real game now. So I'm going to come back and watch you in the summer. Can you give me your summer schedule? I've got your schedule. I figure out what game makes sense. I'll probably coordinate with your coach. So if you're a pitcher, I know you're going to be pitching the day that I show up. And then that's sort of how the whole thing works. But this idea that if you just go to the right tournaments, you'll get recruited, it just isn't how it goes. And because scouts are way too busy and they have to be targeted in looking for the players that they already have leads on. So again, the process is get really, really good at baseball. Get old enough to be recruited, which is really more like 16 and older. 15-year-olds are not really going to be recruited because they're still 2 years away from being able to commit to a college. So when your kid is 16, send a lot of emails, cast a really wide net. Send emails to all levels of college baseball, not just D1. Send them to JUCO, send them to NAIA, send them to D2, send them to D3. Send them all over and see who pings back. Lots of schools will invite you to their camps because they want your money, number one, even though they're not going to be that expensive, the single school camps, but they will want to invite players because it helps pay for their grad assistants and for their volunteer coaches. So you'll get an invitation whether they're interested in you or not. But if you get a personal reply, if you're old enough where they can actually do that, because I don't think they can even email 15 and 16-year-olds now, go to the camp, get seen, and see if you can get on their list. That's just how this sort of thing works. But again, the overarching thing in this video is don't waste your time and money. Don't fall to FOMO, thinking if I don't give my 14U kid at this recruiting showcase, this tournament, they're not going to get found. You can wait, play for a good team, get good development, but you can wait to really worry about recruiting until they're about 16, and then send a lot of emails, get a really good video of your kids, send it all out, and then hopefully scouts will be interested and they'll start to tag along and try to see you play. And if you're not that good, you might have to wait a little longer, and maybe you never are good enough to play in college baseball. That happens more often than not. But that's how this whole process works. So as a parent, if you're hearing about college recruiting tournaments at 12U, 13U, 14U, even 15U, they're just not worth your time and extra money. They're just not. Put that money towards skill development, towards family vacations, towards their schooling. All those things are good uses of that money. And then at 16 and beyond, recruiting dollars are going to be better spent. You don't have to get a recruiting profile. You don't have to do any of those things really before like 16 years old. Once you're 16, that's when you can start to allocate more money towards that stuff, and it will actually have a tangible benefit. Now, I will say that at some tournaments, they do pay college coaches to come, and they'll just be camped out and they'll be watching tons of games at this field and maybe some games at that field. But those coaches are going to watch like high school age games. They're not going to watch youth games. I've been to tournaments like that, and kudos to those tournament directors who do that, who will pay those coaches to come out and watch. I appreciate that. They're making good on this idea that, hey, college coaches come to our tournaments. They're making that happen. So I respect that. All right. But understand that if your kid's 14, they're not going to watch your kid. And if they do, nothing's going to come of it because you're so far away from being recruitable age-wise that it just really doesn't matter. So just keep that in the back of your mind. If your kid's a high school student and you're going to one of these tournaments where they're paying scouts to be there and they swear that these 15 schools will be there, that's wonderful. Go there, play your heart out, see what happens. But for all the other ages, the younger ages, and for other tournaments in general, scouts are going to be very targeted about who they're watching and why. So hopefully this video is helpful. Again, my goal is to help you allocate your money properly and to not fall prey to marketing techniques and companies that want to separate you from your hard-earned dollars on this FOMO of like, if you don't start recruiting early, it's not going to happen for you. That's not the case. Kids can bloom late. They can't even sign you until you're a junior. It's not worth doing this if they're in middle school and even into the early couple ages of high school. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Share this with a parent that needs to see it, and I'll see you here in the next video.